How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today I'm going to begin with a financial situation which may apply to the average American. Wilfred Conception says, "Hey, Beat the Bush. Great video again. Can you do a student with a 35K salary, no debt, with an average saving rate of 15K a year, paying $700 a month for rent? Thank you." The question I have with this is, where do you live? Because it matters a lot. If you live on the coast, your effective salary is very low. However, if you live in the middle of the United States, then this money might actually go a lot further because cost of living is a lot lower over there. Now, for this video, I'm just going to assume you live on the coastal areas because this is a situation where I am more familiar with and I can speak more fluently about it. Just looking around in this city, I live in the East Bay of California. You can actually rent a room for $750. There's not that many of those around, and you have to share a bathroom. So let's begin with this $35,000. Usually I do a quick mental calculation on figuring out how much you earn every single hour. I just lop off the K and divide by 2. This is essentially dividing by 2,000 hours. A typical person would work 2,080 hours, but this is close enough a calculation. You're just doing sort of like a first order analysis. So 35K divided by 2, you immediately get in your head is, oh, $17.50 every hour. This is roughly how much you make. I'm gonna go through a quick calculation of what after-tax dollars you actually get. Very quickly here, you get standard deduction of $12,200 for 2019. So 35 minus 12,200, you end up with $22,800. The first $9,700 you do not pay any federal taxes on, so this is 0%. So you're actually taxed on the $13,100 at a 12% rate, so you have to pay $1,572. For simplicity, let's say you're living in California at this income level. I'm going to guess you're going to pay around 3% tax. So 3% tax on $22,800 is going to be $684. Now, this is not exact, okay? This is just roughly in the ballpark, plus minus a few percent or something. I just want to get a rough number of what your after-tax dollars is. So your total tax is $2,256. Effective tax rate is at 6.4%. This makes somewhat sense because if your income is low, your tax rate is going to be a little bit lower. Your effective tax rate is going to be a little bit lower. This means your take-home money is going to be about $32,744. You say you put in your bank about $15,000 every single year. Your rent is $700 a month, which translates to $8,400 every year. This means I'm kind of working backwards here because you didn't really tell me how much you spend every single month outside of your rent. So I'm going to assume from these numbers, you spend $9,344 a year, which translates to $778 every month for your living expenses. This includes, everything else except your rent, which is, if you have car payments, student loan payments, the food that you buy, utilities, whatever that you have to buy, shoes or whatever. So whenever I do these comparisons, I like to compare it to my own living standards, which I fine tune a lot. And I know it's around the ballpark of $1,350. And $400 of this is my living costs. I have to pay property tax and HOA. So if I subtract this living costs out, then I would realize that I spend about $950 on living costs, on the food that I eat, on the internet bill, and all these things. So I can compare this $950 to what you spend at $778, which is, not that far off, right? It's only $170 difference. This might be a lot because, it's like 20% more or so, but at least we kind of know this is in the ballpark, and I feel like you should be able to live somewhat comfortably with this amount if you're renting a place and then, buying your food. You're like not starving yourself or anything. So with this analysis, let's just kind of talk about something more macroscopic here. The first thing I want to know is that your spending does seem very low. I would not push it any further than that because, this is pretty low already. And judging from how much you make, how much you actually spend, this is a reasonable amount to spend. The second thing I want to talk about is you should watch out for skimping too much on everything. Just like the last video I talked about, where if you skimp too much, it might hurt your socializing and then hurt your friendship and relationship with your family. So you really want to watch out on not trying to push it too hard in that sense. The third thing I want to talk about is when you say you save $15,000, it means you're spending $17,000, right? So this is your comfort level, your standard of living, you need $17,000 every single year in order to live the current way that you live. $15,000, it's roughly, around the ballpark of what you spend every single year. So you can kind of think of it as every single year that you work, you're earning yourself the amount to be able to live 1 year during retirement. So how many years you have to do this in order to retire? Let's say you retire at 65 and you want to live to 95, right? So you have to do that for 30 years. That means if you start at 35 and you work for 30 years, then you're going to be able to generate enough capital to be able to retire for 30 years once you reach 65. I think this is a good way to think about things, because this is how much time that you're buying yourself, I guess, every single year. You're buying yourself 1 year worth of your retirement freedom, let's say. Now, there's a great danger to making this huge assumption, because wherever you're living, you're renting right now, and I can almost guarantee you it's probably going to increase based on inflation. Your salary is also going to increase as inflation goes up as well. But generally, the way things are progressing right now, the cost of goods of real inflation, the things that you actually buy, it's actually going up than this CPI metric that they calculate over here, like 2-3%. If you just look at healthcare costs, it's skyrocketing much quicker than 2-3%. If you look at the amount of rent that you pay, it's definitely increasing more than 2-3% every single year. So if you keep on renting, it might be a danger for yourself in order to make these kind of calculations for retirement. Now, let me switch over to this income level, which you say is about $35,000 every year. What's interesting is that the median individual income in the United States is roughly about $32,000 right now. So you're very close to the median. When this chart over here says real personal income, you're like, what does real mean? It just basically means that they need to chart out the past year's numbers. So in 1990, you can read the numbers. It says about $26,000, right? But if you're able to travel back in time, it's not $26,000. It might be something like $22,000, $23,000. The $26,000 come from adjusted for inflation. So in today's dollars, in 2018, it's 2019, but this chart is in 2018 dollars. In 2018 dollars, how much you would have earned in 1990. So it's not going to be what you actually earned in 1990. The fifth point I want to make is that 32,000 is the average salary for an individual earner. Now, I would have to say, if you're watching this channel, you might go, oh, I also want to quit my job and, not work as well. The thing is, in order to do so, you probably have to do extraordinary things in order to get into this extraordinary position. If you are earning at the average rate, well, you're just going to retire at the average age, which is 65 or something. And right now they're talking about, extending this a little bit further. By the time you retire, it might be 67 or 70 years old. But I do think the situation you are in, the single best thing you can probably do for yourself is to earn more money. It's not try to save more money, because I feel you're probably cutting, pretty thin already, spending only $700, some $800 every month. There's very little that you can cut. And let's say even if you cut like another $100, which is gonna hurt big time, there's a certain standard of living and certain needs that you need. And in order to cut that $100, you might, do something very drastic. I do have to say your saving rate is incredible, right? Most people that are making $32,000 every year, they are likely spending all of it. So the fact that you're saving about 50% of your income, this is really, really good. So this sort of ensures that you're going to be able to retire once you reach 65 if you invest it properly all throughout, this 30, I don't know how old you are, but throughout your lifetime of working years. There's very little you can do to save anymore. You can either make more money on the side or try to get more education while you are, working full time. You might have saved enough to be able to pay for tuition out of your own pocket. You did say that you are a student, so it really depends on what major you are doing. If you're earning 35K, are you working full time or not? Let's say you're working part time. I would really try to concentrate on your schoolwork to get good grades so that you can get a typical job, that you can get paid more. Right now, as a student, I don't think you should worry too much about saving or making too much money, because the rate that you're making money right now is very, very poor. You can get more bang for your buck by spending this time on your education, getting better grades so that you can get a better job, you eventually get paid much, much quicker. I would even go as far as trying to not work as much, just work minimally just to be able to pay your current tuition bills, your living costs and stuff, so that you can take that extra time and do better at your schoolwork. When I went to school, I also had a part-time job, but it was only like 8 or 9 hours. It completely did not interfere with my studies. I still got pretty good grades, but I strongly believe that you should not hold a full-time job because generally this affects your performance at your school. I would rather get a bigger student debt coming out and then knowing that I have a good career lined up. If you're in a major that's going to earn you a lot of money afterwards, then it's probably better to hold those student debts so that you can do better and then get the job and then pay those student loans off. When you actually have a professional career, you earn at a rate much quicker and you probably am able to pay off those student loans with just a few years of work. Now, for those people that are not actually a student and they earn 35K, they are doing this full time, let's say. And I would push really, really hard to go part-time on this and then go to school, get a degree, and get a better job so that you can earn more in order to get ahead. This is one of the best ways to do it. And it's also not too risky if you apply yourself to a major that is likely going to get a job afterwards. If you make $32,000 and you also have to spend $32,000 because let's say you have a family, you have kids that you have to support, and you do 40 hours over there, that just means that you have to sort of work double time. After you do your 40 hours, then you gotta go study. It's okay. You can pretend school is like another full-time job. You can have 2 full-time jobs. Spend 80 hours on getting your life better. And I think this is probably doable for the next couple of years until you get your degree. And then you can get a better job. Quit that other one that makes less money. And then you would be on your way to making more money and then be in a better financial situation. Now, let's talk about something even more dire. If you make $32,000 and you actually have to hold a couple of part-time jobs, this means that you can't go around signing up to go to class or anything, and you spend $32,000 because you have a family or something, and basically all your time is taking up. You don't have any time to go to school, then wow, you might be stuck in a very tough spot. I'm not sure how to get out of this. I would say the more dire your situation is, the harder it is to dig yourself out of this situation. You have to work extra hard in order to get yourself out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed my perspective and this analysis of what you should do given this particular situation. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below, let me know what you think. If you have other recommendations for people in this particular situation. And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.